Hello. I guess we're live. How's everyone doing? See a couple of people. Welcome and thanks for coming. Hope you're pretty excited to learn about Strapi v4 and Gatsby. Oh, we've got 30 people. Shall we get to know each other before we get into the proceedings of the day? I'm Daniel, and I'm from Lusaka, Zambia, based in Paris. Where's everyone from? Hello. I see a couple people from Sonia, Lenka, James, Olivia, Queniel, I hope I said your name right, and another Daniel. Hello from Discord. Nice. Okay. Austin, Belgrade, Switzerland. It's good to have people from all over the world. Indiana, South Africa, California, Ohio. That's perfect. And what does everyone do? Is everyone mostly front end? Or is there a mix of different things? Someone from France also, and Romania, Helsinki. That's pretty cool to see. What does everyone do? What is their stack? There's everyone. I mean, I guess it's Gatsby Conf, so most people use Gatsby. Discord link, Bruce. I'm not sure I know which Discord you want. More than happy to send it when you tell me. But it sounds like we've got a good mix of people who do full stack, which is pretty cool. I'm sure you'll really like this session. App dev, nice. Gatsby plus WordPress, interesting. And what brings everyone to this session? Just very curious to know, do you know about Strapi? Have you used Strapi in the past? Let me know. Oh, Ionic React plus Node.js.net on Azure. That's pretty cool. We just had a resource out recently about using and deploying Strapi on Azure. So I'll find that and probably send it. Nice. Lots of Strapi love. It's good to see. Okay, so we have some people who have Jamstack, who have used the Jamstack, sorry. More people who have just started using Strapi, a few who've used Strapi a lot. Nice, okay. I'm hoping this will help you. And thanks for the answers. I'm just trying to gauge how I should approach this workshop, given what everyone needs and what everyone wants. No, definitely not silly for using Strapi and MongoDB. Still very useful, still very, very useful. Of course, we did drop support for MongoDB in v4, which I'll be talking about today. We'll be very, very excited actually to share v4 and all that it can do, given the constraints we have. Nice. Adam, looking to migrate a large WordPress instance to Strapi. Awesome. Okay, I think we're around a good number of people. We're 45 people. I think I should start pretty soon. Yeah, we're about 45 people, so I think we should start. Before we do get going, though, I just want to give everyone context for what we'll be doing today. If you just joined, I'm Daniel Phiri. I do Devo at Strapi, and you can find me online at Melgambus. Welcome to this workshop on how Strapi v4 and Gatsby work together. So just some notes to take. This would be a very sort of like free-flowing workshop. I'm hoping we can get to chat. I can show you a couple really interesting things about Strapi and Gatsby. And I think there's something that was a slight issue. I think the timing says 7 p.m. to 9. Do not worry, I will not hold you for 2 hours. We will go up to about 8:10, 8:15. I hope that's okay for everyone. Maybe slightly over if we have a couple of questions, but that's sort of the plan for today. And I see everyone's already sort of accustomed with using the chat, which is great. I do want to let you know that we have other sections. We have a poll section, and we might have a few polls come in. We also have a Q&A session, which I see someone is using. And we have a couple questions already. I will get to those. And then we have attendees section, which only I can see probably. But yes, do drop all your questions in the Q&A section. And today we'll be going through how Strapi v4 and Gatsby work together. Okay, let's get going, shall we? Also, before we start, has anyone used Strapi v4 with Gatsby? We have a new source plugin that's in beta right now. I don't know if anyone has used that. If not, let's make that happen. Okay, so this is a quick agenda for today. I'll give you a quick intro of Strapi because I noticed there's a few people who have not heard about Strapi or used Strapi. And then we'll look at Strapi v4 particularly. We'll then get into the new Gatsby source Strapi plugin and what it enables and the new things that can work with it. And then I'll do a quick functionality walkthrough and we'll do like a quick build and I'll show you one really cool thing that's come with the new Gatsby source plugin, which is previews in Gatsby Cloud. Yeah, and then I'll drop a couple of resources at the end. So hopefully the time we have, we'll be able to get through all of those things. Hope it's all good with everyone. Let's go. All right, so quick intro to Strapi for those who aren't privy. So Strapi, community-wise at least, this figure just changed. We've got about 43,000 GitHub stars, and we're in the top 160 of popular repositories. Tons of downloads for the projects, tons of contributors, and a lot of really cool awards for what we do in the space, in the Node.js and the JavaScript space. So in a nutshell, Strapi is a headless CMS. A lot of people might not know what that is. A lot of people might. So regardless, I will go into that. Headless CMS means that we deliver content by any front end to any front end, via an API. So I see a lot of people here are familiar with at least the version of WordPress that isn't headless. And the way that works was in a monolithic architecture where you had things tightly coupled and of course written in PHP. With Strapi, you have a back office where you do all of the content management things. And then all of that content that you manage sort of gets exposed to an API. And that lets us deliver things to multiple devices that can sort of get or receive that data or make calls to the API. So we can do mobile. I saw someone uses Ionic, so that's great. We can do web, of which Gatsby is a part of, or we can do wearables or smart devices. So basically, that's what a headless CMS is. It has the usual back office content management section, which most CMSs are known for. So you can actually manage the content. And then you have an API, which makes this content accessible to multiple platforms. Right. And then Strapi is super important because our approach to this is making content at the center of everything. Instead of having sort of this linear flow of from design to development to you ship to production to management, sharing with third-party contributors, with Strapi, we like to put content at the center and empower everyone to sort of do their best work by letting designers and developers, have that conversation. Also taking into account content managers on what they need, as well as third-party contributors. And that way we sort of create this content loop where designers and developers can talk and then hand things off to people. And then you sort of have this really cool workflow where the CMS and the content are at the center and everyone just does their specific part, making everyone hopefully way more productive. Quick things about what makes Strapi unique. It's open source, it's self-hosted, super customizable, and even more so now with V4, and I'll get into that. We've got a really cool plugin system. It's 100% JavaScript. And it's got a really, really great community. So what is Strapi V4? And don't worry, I'll do a quick demo of what that is. So Strapi V4 is a big version of Strapi. We previously had a V3, and we've of course bumped that up with V4. And with that, we made a couple of changes to a lot of really important aspects of the project. We've added better performance by streamlining our query engine and making that way better for people to use, creating a more structured query language to make custom queries. We made customization easier by investing in a design system, which I'll be showing you. And in a growing plugin ecosystem, we just announced our marketplace, and we've made things a lot more intuitive with the design system for content editors. And the big database refresh, which I think someone alluded to when they mentioned using MongoDB. We dropped MongoDB because that slowed us down shipping a lot of really important features. And that's why V4 has been this big thing that the Strapi community has been talking about. So like I already mentioned, V4 is in GA. It's generally available for anyone to use literally right now. You can do it right now, and we will be using V4 in this workshop. So like I mentioned, new dazzling design, as you can see there, a new Strapi design system, a plugin API, a more precise database query engine, and more powerful REST and GraphQL APIs. Right, so this is the lovely design system with some nice screenshots of the content editor. This is the sort of design system website, which I will drop in the resources. Although at the bottom here, I'll just take this out, sorry. At the bottom here, you can see a really nice link that can let you access those. And our new plugin API, which I will be showing. We have a plugin which we'll be using today called Gatsby Preview that lets us preview content in Strapi in Gatsby Cloud. And this plugin leverages the new plugin API, which lets plugins generally access more core APIs of the Strapi application and makes building plugins a much more enjoyable experience. And this is the database query engine that I shared in the resources. I will put links to a YouTube series that we have on how to sort of make the best out of V4 in general, along all the aspects that I mentioned, as well as next level customization for the admin. Like I mentioned, we really want to make it much easier for people to customize their admin UIs and make the content editing experience much, much better. And so we have these really cool things that we call injection zones, where you can place components that interact with your other content, and create sort of like features that your content squads might want, and hopefully make their life better. So that is Strapi V4. Now, let's get into the new Gatsby source Strapi plugin. I'll just pause for a bit. I see there's a question. Some really good questions. When do you expect folder functionality in our media manager? So I'll give you a quick answer to that. I'd say it should be coming pretty soon. And if you'd like to know more about upcoming features that will be coming into Strapi, I'll suggest registering for our conference, which is actually in 2 weeks, StrapiConf, and I'll share a link really quick, just chat. Strapi.io. You should check it out. Anyways, I see your other question, by the way. I'll get to that because we're talking about the Strapi Gatsby, sorry, source Strapi plugin. So like I mentioned, we have a new Gatsby source Strapi plugin. And what this means is when you think of the Gatsby ecosystem, we have the content layer, the framework, builds, previews, and hosting. The Gatsby source Strapi plugin is much better in terms of interacting with the whole Gatsby ecosystem, in terms of letting Strapi interact with the whole Gatsby ecosystem. Like I mentioned, now we can do previews, and we can access a lot of really interesting things in the backend also. So this is what is new with the new Gatsby source Strapi. And for those who already use it, I'm sure these are some really exciting changes. So now Gatsby plugin image support has come to the Gatsby source Strapi plugin. We have Gatsby plugin remark support. We have Gatsby cloud support. We have incremental build support for Gatsby cloud. We can process images in markdown fields. We have dynamic zone support. I saw the question about dynamic zones. So it's much, much easier now to populate data and use that in your Gatsby application. You also have API token supports. Strapi v4 brought API tokens to Strapi basically. And now you can sort of manage access to different collection types using those API supports, which we'll be doing today in our demo also. So that's really, really cool. So let me just check and see, and I hope that that answers your question, Gatsby, Strapi. Let me see if I say answer, what does that do? Oh, okay. Okay, Gatsby source Strapi, how do we get deep components in GraphQL working with dynamic zones? I have components that have other components that have other components. How does it work? Okay, hopefully we'll be able to demo that, but Malcolm, just as best practice, we don't always necessarily recommend deeply nesting your components in other components, just because it becomes very messy to deal with. But yep, we will see that. So what are Strapi use cases outside of Gatsby? That's a really great question. So people use Strapi for so many things. I've seen people use Strapi to make mobile games, to make e-commerce sites. A lot of people really like to use Gatsby with something like Next, or I've seen people use it with Remix. I've seen people use Strapi with Flutter, with Electron for desktop applications. Some people use Strapi just sort of as a sort of a backend to store their data and sort of abstract their business logic, where the Strapi is sort of like their core application without a front end, and they just manage their systems in Strapi by building different views in the application and like leveraging the data manipulation that you can do with the customization that Strapi gives you. So yeah, the use cases are pretty far and wide. Financial services, healthcare, non-government organizations, websites, and retailers, advertising. It's really all over the place. I hope that helps. And even more so now with plugins, people are creating really cool things. So yeah, let's do a quick walkthrough of Strapi. I will drop a link because we'll be basing everything that we'll be doing today on our Gatsby blog starter. And for context, starters in the Strapi ecosystem are sort of like full stack applications that leverage templates. So we have templates for a bunch of use cases. We have a blog template, and this blog template has a bunch of collection types. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, this blog template has a bunch of collection types, which are in Strapi are just like a collection of related fields that are already set up, so you can be up and running really quickly. I'll share a link in the chat so you can get started with installing that. So we have this starters and templates. That is just like a general repo where you can find all starters and templates. And what we'll be using today is the Gatsby starter. So this is the Gatsby starter. I'll just open my CLI so we can actually get started installing the Gatsby blog. So yarn create Strapi starter. I'll change this from my project to gconf. Wow, I think that's great. Gatsby blog. Let's go. Okay, so while that's installing, let's see if we have any questions. How much of a lift would it be to add Strapi for blogs on a website that is currently using Gatsby? The blogs are currently created with Markdown and pulled with GraphQL. I think it would be, it depends on sort of like how much effort you want to put into doing that. It also depends on how many blogs. You could probably write a script to get all the Markdown and then just feed that into Strapi, Strapi rich text field, or extract that and add it to different fields. So it's definitely possible. Just depends on how far you're willing to go with the effort needed to make it happen. Yep. I do have a backup just in case this takes way longer than it's supposed to, because sometimes streaming and downloading packages can be quite the headache. But yeah, if you have any questions, the Q&A section is a great place to add them. I have a Strapi app running somewhere, so I might just start that up instead. But I will also just wait for everyone to have their starter installed. Let me know how that's going. So let's actually just start this. This is my Gatsby app. Oh no, sorry, this is my Strapi app. So develop. So this is the template, the blog template. So it's the exact app that you will have. And then I will do the same for the starter. And let me know if you need me to zoom in to see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so when you get asked what installation type you want to use when running that command, you should click Quick Start because that sets up a SQLite database. If you do custom, you have the option of choosing to have a Postgres or a MySQL database, but you'd have to do the setup locally. And just for time's sake, let's go with SQLite. But just so you know, that's an option that you have. Oh, okay. That is great feedback. Thank you. I think it was not updated, but beta 0 is definitely out there. Thank you, Toby. So let's actually change that. So once it's up, just like let me know, and we will actually go through the process of changing this from alpha to beta. I think our Strapi app should be open. Oof. Computer does not love me today. But yeah, if you have zoom in, sure. Let me zoom in to everything, or just is this okay? Or should I zoom in a bit more? Okay, also I think this will make it much easier. Let me know if this view is better. I don't think you all need to see me, at least not now. Okay, we'll wait. Just look at Gatsby config. Okay, that's great. Good to see that that's working. Yeah, but this is pretty weird. This is taking so much time. Okay, there we go. My backup is failing me. But yeah. Okay. That is perfect. So let me know if you need me to go bigger. I'm more than happy to. But I think from the chat, this seems like everything is great. Okay. Looks like we're doing okay. Oh, finally. So you should have your starter installed and your Gatsby app and your Strapi app open to, let's play around with our Strapi app. So we'll go to our localhost 1337/admin, and just so that we don't slow anything else down, I will stop this. Yep. I will zoom in soon, do not worry. Very bad request. Okay, so this is our admin, our login. So I already created an account. When you start your app for the first time, you'll be asked to create an admin user. I don't have to do that because I already have someone installed. Indeed, the demo gods have appeared. Oof. They left. Okay, there we go. So I'll zoom in here also. So this is your Strapi admin panel, and we're running this right now in development mode. And check the Gatsby app. Looks like we have a lot of errors here. Anyway, we'll check it. Yes, so this is your Strapi app. So this is for people who aren't privy with Strapi, your content types builder. And what this does is it lets us create different sort of data structures that govern how the content we manage looks like. And let's explore our article collection type. And so here we have, as you see, a title of type text, description of text, slug, UID, and we've got a bunch of other collection types that we could play with. If we wanted to, we could add another field to our collection type. And we have all these fields to sort of play around with. Today we won't, but that's okay. And yeah, so let's actually add some content to, yeah, let's add, okay, great. So we do have some content in our app. And if you look at that, this is our content manager, and this is exactly how it looks. So you should be here because the starter also sort of gets you content to start with, which is great. And once you're here, what we want to do next is just like play around with Strapi, get familiar with it, look at the different collection types and the single types, and then we'll start our Gatsby application. And then we'll get started with installing things that are necessary to sort of get to the goal at this point, which is preview data in Gatsby Cloud. Okay, so we won't create any new collection types, but if you want to, that's where you can, like I showed you. Notice we have a couple of dynamic zones here. And these all come from a bunch of components. And let's actually see what we can do with those dynamic zones. So if you go to article, I know there's a couple of dynamic zones here. And so we have the option of adding either media, quote, rich text, or a slider, which is perfect. And settings, you see something really cool here, which is the Gatsby preview plugin. And this is what helps you preview data on Gatsby Cloud, and we'll get to that. But you're going to want to install it right now. So let me get that. Let me get that repo for you. Gatsby preview. There we go. You're going to want to install this plugin. And the way we do it is we will stop our Strapi app. So in your terminal, just click that and stop your Strapi app. My Strapi app is called my app name. I'll paste that and run yarn add Strapi plugin Gatsby preview. And that should install the preview plugin. But that's just the beginning. So give everyone a couple seconds to install that plugin, and then I'll teach you how to actually add that plugin to your config like I did here. So once you've installed your plugin, you need to go into your config folder and create a new folder, a new file called plugins.js. And this is sort of like your central file where you can add a bunch of really cool Strapi plugins. Just so that you can sort of walk you through the actual process, I'll look for another plugin. Just more on the fun side. One minute. Just go to okay, there we are. So install this plugin called Strapi Tetris plugin, which is just so you can sort of see how that happens when adding it to the config. While that installs, let me walk you through actually doing it. So plugin.js, you won't have that file by default. You should create it. So plugins, a mistake most people make is forgetting the S, very important, plugins.js. So we'll open plugins.js, and what we'll do here is we need to add Gatsby preview as a plugin, and with Strapi v4, this isn't always necessary, but it does help just in case you have any issues installing it, and it showing up in your package.json. Usually just tell Strapi that, hey, I've got a plugin, please add it to my list of plugins. And so if you have problems, adding it here will help. And if not, the next thing you need to do is rebuild your admin, which I will do once this plugin is done. So let me just check questions. Okay, so we have a couple questions about nested structures, and I will get to those soon. Don't worry, because it will show up in the demo. Okay. Yeah, no, my internet really hates me today, so I'll just stop this installation. And then what we'll do is we'll run yarn build, which will build our Strapi admin so that our plugins can show up in the front end, which would be great. And if you want to do that quick, you can say no optimization, but you never want to do this in production. So we're not, let's just do the build. And let's see what happens. So in the meantime, let's try and explore our Gatsby app and see what error that was throwing. No, that's not it. There we are. Okay. Okay. I think this should be fine. Let's just wait for Strapi to start again, and we will run it. Okay. Yeah, this is why you add the no optimization flag so that things do their job a bit faster. But it's fine. I think you're a patient bunch. So thank you for not complaining, at least not yet. That 92. Okay, so I'll give you some next steps for what we have to do at some point. You have to deploy your Strapi application to production, and we have some really cool alternatives for where to do that. If you will not have enough time to do that now, because it's yeah, time is not our ally at the moment, and I would suggest probably starting to do it now after your plugin is installed. So besides installing your Gatsby preview plugin on the Strapi end, you would also have to install an upload provider so that you have sort of like a cloud provider where you store your images and your media assets. In my case, I have used Cloudinary, and I will share a really cool resource that helps you do that relatively quickly. So if you don't have a Cloudinary account, they have a really generous free tier. They do have other options for upload providers. We do have IMGix and AWS, but I find that Cloudinary is usually the most friendly. Our app has started, so we'll go and run yarn develop to start our server again. And after installing your plugin, rebuilding your admin, and starting your server, you should see your plugin show up in the settings portion of your Strapi app, which we'll go to right now. And then after this, we'll work on actually seeing all the changes that we mentioned by playing around in our Gatsby graphical and actually looking at our Gatsby application. So in a minute. But yeah, I'm like I shared, the resource there is a really good one if you want to install an image provider relatively fast. Okay. So if that's a problem, I'll just zoom in again. Sorry, I think that might make it easier if it's 720p. I think that would probably isn't the easiest to see. Let me know if 720p is much bigger. I could also definitely zoom in here. Cool. Okay, so you've got your preview plugin installed. You have some sort of image provider, and let's start up our Gatsby app. And sorry for these delays. It is in a Gatsby or Strapi issue. I think I just have way too many things running on my computer. I think Firefox is draining a lot of my memory, and I need to figure out why. So hopefully our Gatsby app starts up well now that Strapi is properly running. Just a quick check at our config. Okay. While it's running, I guess we should probably look at the config and how to do that, because we got questions on how to structure that and how to sort of add different fields that you want to use in your Strapi app. So just so we have an idea of what we have in our Strapi app, if we go to our content manager here and our collection types builder, we have a couple of collection types. Oops, sorry, that's the wrong one. Okay, content manager, articles. So we have 3 collection types right now: article, author, category, and user. And so in our Gatsby config here, when we use our Gatsby source Strapi plugin, we need to first define our API URL, excuse me, which is Strapi localhost. And then we need to define an access token, which is probably the problem right now. So let's, although I probably have to do that off screen because my I have my Cloudinary credentials in my .m file. So what I'll do is I'll go to my API token section here. Yep, that is definitely it. And add a Gatsby demo. We'll make this full access, which is really important if you want the plugin to work as intended. You need to give it full access. And we'll change this real quick to say that, and then we'll save. Perfect. So I've just added my Strapi token. Yep, I just added my Strapi token to my Strapi, sorry, to my Gatsby app, Gatsby starter. And then what we'll do now is I'll bring this back to your screen. Is the code for plugin.js anywhere that I can just copy and paste? Yes, it is. It definitely is. I feel like what I should do at this point is, because we're a bit short on time, is I should share a link to the Gatsby front end that sort of like works 100%, in case you want to just like put that in and dive into the code. That's it. And that's sort of like the finished state that we're looking at. So if you want to copy and paste anything, that's there. Although for the plugins.js, I don't have that up. I could do like a quick gist. Ooh. So plugins.js. So Strapi Gatsby workshop. Then I will go and just copy that code. That's everything. So let's make this a public gist. Okay, here we go. Here's plugins.js. Okay, so yeah, so that's the code finished. If you just want to put that in, clone that repo, install everything, start it up, that's eventually where we'll get to. But yeah, so where were we? I've added my API token to my Gatsby app, so that should fix the error that we were getting. So let's go. Yeah, anyway, that takes a bit of time. So let's go back to, wow, oh no, actually, I think that's fine. I just showed my end file, but this actually doesn't have Cloudinary. I was just being paranoid for no specific reason. But anyway, so now we have our API token, and still getting issues for some reason. Cannot find all Strapi article on type query. So this should be a permissions issue. Let's try and troubleshoot this. No, but our API token has everything sort of. All Strapi article on type query. Maybe we need to change something here. So collection type article. Let's check out Strapi GraphQL and just make sure that so articles. ID Attributes. Slug, title. See real quick. We've got all of that. So I'll just delete my cache and start again. Yeah, more gods are definitely not happy with me. Public paper. Okay. Yeah, let's this is working seemingly. We are getting GraphQL requests. Okay. That could be it. Yeah, these are just like ESLint warnings, which usually are okay to ignore. But you could be right about .env. But really weird that that wouldn't work, given it worked a couple hours ago. Let's just copy it. Yeah, local demos are the worst. Okay, so while that's building, on the Gatsby end, you have to install one really important plugin for things to actually work, which is the Gatsby plugin, Gatsby Cloud. And I'll paste this here so you can install that in your Gatsby app. No, that's super weird. It's not very... Okay, this is probably a alpha issue. Let's try and get that to beta. So yeah, I don't think that's it. Let's do that. And let's wait for the new version to install. But yeah, so there's the plugin that's super important to the next step. Gatsby plugin, Gatsby Cloud. So that way we can actually preview things. And after installing this, what I would need is, and maybe I should make it just of this also. Nope, it's the config, but that's in the application. So since this is refusing to work, let's actually reference the working application so I can explain how you add your collection types so that they can be viewable in Gatsby, and so you can actually like use them in your Gatsby app. So in initializing your Gatsby source Strapi plugin, you need to define your endpoint either through the end variable, or here, because we're local, we use that, as well as the Strapi token, which we got from the API token section. Sorry, the API token section of our Strapi application. And then you need to sort of define the collection types. Singular article here, singular name, sorry, article, which is a collection type that we have, as well as some query parameters. Population, or sort of like response data in Strapi changed a bit. So we need to define exactly what media attributes or relations that we could have. So we want to get a Clever image, and we want to get blocks, which is our dynamics on section. And so we put star to mean we get all the covers and all the blocks. We also want to get all our author data, or our category data. And then we also define things in a similar manner for our single types, as well as our global type. And so if we added, let's say, a new collection type here called demo, for example, we would have to define under collection type, singular name demo, with the option of adding other query parameters to populate either images or relations or components that we have. So this is sort of how that would work. Let's see. Okay, that's done. Let's do the develop, and let's see if it was, oh, probably the comma, to be honest. I hope not. Let me check that issue out. Thank you. I don't think so. Let's see. Oh, wow. That is super weird. Maybe this is just me. Yeah, the issue is quite old. How is it everything running on your devices, if anyone's got this far? Otherwise, we can skip to the section where everything is deployed onto Gatsby Cloud, and we can start to play around with things. But I'm really bummed because I wanted to show all the cool things like images in Markdown, as well as the new media attributes that we have. Let's see. It shouldn't have anything to do with that. Config looks. No, it shouldn't. Let me just give this a quick hard think before we move on. Okay, so let me just double check. In Strapi, our API token works. Our content is published article. Super weird. Okay, so it sounds like it's just me. And let me check the deep querying issue that you're mentioning. Let's see. Okay, so I see you're having a conversation with the engineer who worked on the plugin, Malcolm, and he has left some sort of recommendation for what the format should look like. And I see someone has also, literally 2 hours ago, added a solution for you. So it looks like that's working out. Okay, so Gwenol has the same issue. Are you on Windows, by the way? By any chance? Do you have GraphQL on the pages that relate to all Strapi articles? So all Strapi articles is a node that Gatsby is supposed to create based off my articles collection type. So it's a bit weird that that isn't happening because all of this is really supposed to be automatic. So so we have a 4.3 that we're getting. So I think Gatsby is trying to make a call. Okay. Yeah, so it's not working. Let me look at the time. And okay, I should get a proper fix to this. And yeah, because this is taking quite a bit of time from us. Query params. Let's do something. Something about that. Just comment that, see what happens. Or in general, just take out article and see what happens. Very messy, sorry. Let's see if it's just the article collection type or there's like an actual issue with everything here. Yeah, so all Strapi article nodes. Okay. Request failed with 4.3. Yeah, I thought so. We keep getting those 4.3s. So components, we need to define blocks in Yep, 4.3 is like a permission thing. Yep, I absolutely did add the permissions. But we really shouldn't have to because we're using the API token with full access. So this is really just like a final plea. Even that's that's interesting. So failed to cannot query. Okay. So now we need to uncomment this because it's trying to query it. It's just, I think we're getting somewhere. Where is Gatsby config? Sorry for the delay. If it does not work here, then yep, it is loading data. But now it's because we sort of commented that out so it couldn't get the article cover. But here we go. Let's see. That's good. Created pages. Oh, that would give the biggest sigh of relief. Oof. So it's because and this is very weird actually. But okay, so if you are having the same issue, you need to go to your rows and permissions, select your public role, and in content types builder, you need to give access so that Gatsby can get your content types, which makes sense because it needs to get all your content types and then build nodes for all of them. And that's why it was giving the 403 error. Yeah, you need to define and on development mode, give access to those. But that's something that should probably be in the scope of the API token. But anyway, that's working now, at least on this end. So hopefully if you had the same issue, this helps. Yeah, you get unstuck. I saw someone said they had that issue also. So hopefully that helps. Okay, and hopefully we can move forward. So just next steps, what we'll be doing next is just like looking at graphical and looking at sort of like all the things that we can do now, getting data from Gatsby. And then we'll actually look at our app, then put it on GitHub, and then I will do a quick demo of how we can actually deploy things. So let's look at our graphical here. Oh, finally. Big sigh. Okay. Okay, so this is our graphical. Let's look at article because I think that's something that we're familiar with. So if we category kind of okay, let's take that out. Let's start from scratch. So all Strapi article, what we want to do is go to notes, and in nodes, we want to, let's start really simple and get sort of like created at, and no, not that, actually, let's do slug ID title. What is that? Yeah, that's not supposed to be there. Wait, Strapi category. No, that's fine. Let's just get rid of that. Let's do author, because this is messy. So, okay, we have our author. Let's look at our nodes, and we'll look at our name. Let's get the email and just see if we can actually get some data. You're welcome. Glad it's working. So now let me just zoom in also, because I remember it was not the most yeah. Okay, perfect. So Strapi author, we can sort of dive into that. Let's look at avatars. And then avatars, we have really, the usual with images. But one thing that we have, which is really cool, is local time. So if we get the URL, what we do is we get, if you had an image provider, this would be Cloudinary, and you'd get like your whole URL. But with local file, let's just take URL out. What we can do is we can get and use image sharp here, and let's get like the name, relative file. And when we do that, what we have here is like your images from your Gatsby, using Gatsby image, which is pretty cool, that you have those and can use them. And everyone who sort of like really likes to use this property will be having a ball. Let's actually go back to our article or our about page. All Strapi about. Let's look at our nodes. Let's look at sort of like the title. I'm trying to get something with a dynamic zone, so we can look at how those are, because there were a couple questions around that. So I guess article, nodes, we have cover, and like I mentioned, with cover we can get like different formats, but we also have local file, like mentioned, so we can get size, URL, and even like the absolute path here. So, and then we can get like the exact local thing using the local file property. Let's go and see, not cover, let's look at blocks and use the dynamic zones. So here we can get a title ID, Strapi component, Strapi ID, and it makes making those queries really, really cool. Okay, let's get rid of that. And let's look at any relations. Do we have any relations in our articles collection type? Just zoom a bit. So do we have any relations? Beautiful picture. We have Sarah. Baker, did we define any relations in our config? So we only populated blocks and we didn't populate any other relations. So if we wanted to do that, we could add them, and then those would get added to category. So we have category here. Give me a minute. Oops. Right. So category. Hope this doesn't break an already fragile build. And let's say populate. So that way, in our articles collection type, we can query our notes. Our categories. Yeah, I will. Is this live being recorded? I am actually not sure, but it should be. I should be able to get the recording of this and share it if that's something that's important. But yeah, it's interesting to see debugging under pressure. It's quite fun. Anywho, I think this has built and restarted. So let's see if we can access our article stuff here. So nodes. Where is that? Yep. So here on nodes, you can see that we have articles. So we can see all the articles that are related to specific categories. And so ideally where we just get like, excuse me, the name of a category, which is like food, news, news, tech, food, nature, story. We can actually go deep and say, okay, what articles give me the slug and the title of all the articles that are related to these nodes. So we can see, okay, these articles are related to news, these are related to nature, and then we sort of have that that deep query. But now that you have this working for yourself, also you can also play around with other things that that you'd like. So what I am going to do now, or what you should do rather, because I have this on GitHub, and I'll share this again just in case anyone wants to clone this and sort of pick it up from here. What we'll do is I'll go to my Gatsby cloud now and show you what things should look like. Okay, so where is my Gatsby cloud is here. So we'll go through the process of making previews work on Gatsby cloud. So you need to start out by adding this project. And after you've added your project, some very important things that we need to do in the backend. And this is where I show how the Gatsby preview plugin works in Strapi. So while that's happening, so just add your projects to your Gatsby cloud. I think they have a pretty cool free tier also. I'm using it, so and I have my project here. So that's one step. And then on the other end, you need to also deploy your Strapi app to production. And I know this might take more time than most are used to. Let me just bring it up. And I'll show you something here that I have. So this is my Strapi app working in production. Just give me a minute. I think needs to wake up a bit. to refresh. Maybe I might need to log in. Okay, and also we're at like the time that I mentioned that this would probably be ending, but I don't want to leave you all feeling like you did not get any value. So I feel like we can go all the way. I'm willing to if you're all willing to. So okay, so this is my Strapi in production. This is deployed on Heroku. We have a pretty cool resource, Heroku Strapi deploy, which is pretty straightforward. I will say though, there are a few caveats, and the team is working on adding that to the documentation that you need to take care of when you do add a project or when you do deploy a project to Heroku from Strapi. You have to make sure that a couple of your how do I describe this, environment variables are added to your Heroku. So I'll go to my Strapi app, and maybe you might want to take a screenshot of the variables. Let's see, am I still logged in? Admin dashboard. Okay. There's no sensitive information. So if you go to, just let me double check. Okay, great that you Heroku really should hide the sensitive information. But basically there's 3 environment variables that usually people forget when deploying to Heroku. And if you're doing that, you might have that issue. So I'll also, Darren, I'm happy that you had no issue. So I'll just paste the 3 environment variables that people usually omit when deploying to Heroku. And that's usually what stops people from using it well. So those are the 3 variables, and you can get all of those from your local Strapi app, or you can regenerate them and add them to your Heroku. But yes, that's the resource to deploy to Heroku. It's also free. There is the fact that your app will sleep a couple times if you're on the free tier, so you have to take care of that. But perfect. Okay, so at this point, your app is deployed to Heroku. You're running Strapi on production. You have a URI that you can play with, and you have your plugin installed. So let's go to settings, and let's look at the Gatsby plugin here. So what you want to do is you need to enable it on specific collection types, so that when you do make an edit or make a change to a collection type, that triggers a build. So you can do enable. I'll do it only on the article collection type, but maybe yeah, let's just do it for the category collection type. You can do it for single types also. And then you need to get your Gatsby content sync URL and paste it here. That's something you can get from Gatsby Cloud. So if you go to site settings, this is perfect that everything is hidden. If you go to site settings, you have your content sync URL, which you should paste and add to your production Strapi application using the Gatsby preview. So you add that here. And that's almost done from the Strapi end. So there'll be a bit of back and forth. And the next thing we have to do is we need to add webhooks. So you need to add your Gatsby preview webhook, which you get from Gatsby Cloud. You need to paste this and add that to your Strapi admin here. So if I look at this webhook, I need to make an event for creation and updating. So whenever data is updated or created, I add data here. I trigger the webhook, which will trigger a build. You can do that also for production, for actual builds. And you can do the same thing by just going back to Strapi and creating a new webhook, pasting your URL, naming it, and doing that when something is created, deleted, updated, depending on what your preference is as an organization or as an individual. So that is almost it. The last thing that you need to do is in your Strapi admin, you need to go to API tokens. You can see here I have a couple API tokens. I have Strapi demo, and I've given this full access. So create a new API token, and in your Gatsby Cloud, make sure to add it here under Strapi token, under build variable and preview variable. You should also do the same thing for your production URL. So you copy that, and in your Strapi Cloud, you paste that under preview variables and build variables. And once you've done that setup, you're all good to go. So let's actually go into my Strapi and see how things work. So before we do anything, let's actually see what this site looks like, just like by default. This is like my blog, items. Wow, which is great. So these are the only things we have at the moment published on the blog. Let's go into settings, our Strapi admin, and we'll go to our content manager. So what we want to do is we'll go to our article collection type, and we'll create a new entry. And what we'll do, let's name this entry "Where are the demo gods?" because they have betrayed us today. Where are the demo gods? And generate a new slug. This is from the Happy Gatsby workshop. Okay. And then we'll add a cover. We have a couple covers. I have a lot of covers of food. So let's put like cake. I think that's like a cheesecake. We won't add blocks for now. Or maybe we should. Yeah, let's do that. So let's add some media here. We'll add maybe some pancakes. And let's add another block. Maybe a slider. Let's see. Let's do like meatballs, and that looks like cod, and yeah, I don't know, eggs or something. Lots of food. And then let's add some rich text. So this is a title. This is a link. Go to, I don't know, Strapi.io. Then let's have like a list. That just says like 1, oh no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then what else is like a markdown feature? Maybe title. More text, and maybe like bold of you. Okay, anyway, markdown. So let's save. And now that we've saved that, it triggers our webhook. So if we go to Strapi Cloud, you don't always have to do this, by the way. So if you look at CMS preview, we have a new data update, which is building. So what we can do now in our CMS is you see this nice open Gatsby preview. Notice we've just saved this and we have not published it. So I'll click open Gatsby preview. And what that will do now is it will tell me it's building my preview. It shouldn't take too much time. And then I should see this in about 20 seconds or so. I should see the content that I just put. And then I'll show you the difference in what that looks like. Lots of waiting today. Is the build done? Nope. Still building. Okay. It's the first build in a long time. So this will take some time, but I see there's a couple questions. So let's get those. That is a good point, by the way, Lawrence. I'll send you over our tool, which is sort of something that we use. I feel like that is a really cool feature, and I think it's definitely on the team's radar. I would suggest looking at that. I will answer that. I'd say add that to our product board so you can, if someone hasn't added it already, so that the team has a good idea of things that people would like to be worked on. I do agree that is a really good thing to be able to sort of have webhooks trigger on different collection types. Let's just go back to CMS preview. It's still building, so this might take a bit. Although one thing, and that's something that I will not be demoing today, is the incremental build, like I mentioned. You can, inside settings, I think, you can toggle that somewhere. But that is still in beta. Where is that? Yeah, so enable incremental builds. But you'd have to upgrade to do that. But that definitely works if waiting for your build is something that you don't always necessarily want to do. Let's see how we're doing here. Okay, we're almost done. And yeah, like if you have any other questions. No, there's a question there about to build a simple SFTP as provider, at least for Gatsby, where the host info is not important. It could be a great important. I think there is a SFTP provider for Strapi. What about nested structures? I'll send you a link to that, by the way. What about nested structures? Add inside another for flexible content like repeaters. So nested data can be used in Strapi. My sort of advice is probably just not to always do that, because it can get difficult. But anyway, yeah, this is the preview of what we added. Where are the gods? This is from the Strapi workshop. Nice picture of cake. Then here we have our pancakes. And then we have our slider. This is a title, this is a link. Oh, it looks like that's italic and not bold. But basically, if now we go to, this is our preview URL, by the way, which is different. If we go to blog, we can see all the things that are published, but not, that are created, but not published, that we can preview. And I think this is the pretty cool thing about having the preview. So yeah, this is previews with Gatsby and Strapi, and I think this is something that the team will keep on progressively improving. There's a couple of snags that we hit, but that's the beauty of doing things like that. I can always go back and say, hey, this thing is not very intuitive, let's fix that. And then you won't have to have that issue the next time you try it out. But let's see how we're doing. So yeah, that is really the functionality walkthrough and quick demo that I wanted to get through. I think we looked at setting up and creating collection types with Strapi. We went into understanding how to create, like, set up your config. Also a really nice impromptu debugging session for the config file, and I think we better understand now how to set up our config and how to set up the permissions with Gatsby and Strapi to make sure that things work as intended. We looked at sort of like deploying and all the variables you need to take care of. You have a really nice base also now for an app that you can use. I will also, after this, because I think it's pretty cool, just keep playing around with dynamic zones and show how those work. And we also went through sort of like setting up previews with the preview plugin on Strapi's end, installing the Gatsby Cloud plugin on the Gatsby end, putting those into Gatsby Cloud and Heroku, and then actually previewing content in production and seeing how that works. So I think that was a pretty cool functionality walkthrough. We also looked at the graphical and all the new nodes that we can take advantage of with Gatsby. So I think this was pretty cool. In terms of resources, I would keep an eye on this if you want sort of like resources that I shared. I know I shared a couple during the chat that I did not add there. After this, I will add them. So if you want to have like a nice page where you have all sort of Gatsby v4 and Strapi v4 and Gatsby resources, I'll keep adding those even after this. So you should keep an eye on that. And I think that would be a really great thing. So yeah, that has been the very quick workshop. I think now I will take like 5 minutes to answer a couple questions while also just continuing to play around with Gatsby and Strapi, and then we'll end things from here. So it's been a pleasure. You've been really cool. So many people from different parts of the world. And I appreciate the help debugging the errors. It's always nice when that happens together. So thanks. And yeah, let's keep adding some data. Let's maybe change the about us to make this something. Let's delete that. Let's add some rich text. Maybe let's actually make this an actual food blog. So my food blog. Yep. Okay. Save that. And let's add like a quote. So maybe Gordon Ramsay said best meal ever, best blog ever. Maybe another one from, I don't know, Roger. Is this recipe for rice? Yeah, and thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Gweniel. It's been great to get to meet everyone. And oh, another pretty cool thing about this is we can actually set like favicons and descriptions for the sites. So if you notice, the favicon up here is actually this image, and we can delete that and make that something else, which I think is, it's nice to sort of like handle everything from here. So yeah, we'll just save that really quick. And then we'll go to articles and maybe start to actually publish some of these and unpublish these because I don't think they look great. So item. Oh, no, I just unpublished that. Unpublish. Back. Unpublish. Perfect. And then food will publish you. And then, like I said, we can also set up a webhook so that when we publish something, it triggers a build, and not just when we do like a preview. So maybe we can add another entry that says best pancakes. The best way to start your morning. Refresh that slug and maybe add this, or maybe tacos. Let's do tacos instead. Best tacos. Breakfast tacos aren't bad. So this is such a great idea. Okay, just save that. And then we'll see preview with Gatsby. Thank you, Sonia. I do hope the demo gods befriend me again. I seem to have not made them very happy with something I did. So yeah, and thanks for the compliment on my YouTube videos. It means a lot. I don't know if people actually watch those. But hey, so our build was much faster this time around. So best tacos. This is such a great idea, the taco person. But yeah, so I think I've been sort of hovering. I'll let you all have a great day or great night, depending on where you are. And I will just drop that link that I mentioned in the slides in the chat, just so anyone can actually see that. I hope you've had a great day. Yeah, you do have options for Azure hosting. Let me see if I can pull that up. Give me a minute. So Azure deployment, I think what you can use is their the PaaS platform as a service tool. You want to do that? So that's going to be very useful. Thank you, Adam. Thanks for joining. Thanks for coming. So, yeah, if no one has any other questions, then thank you. I will, let me bring my face back just to, yeah, there we go. All right. So again, thank you. If no one has any other questions, then I will end the workshop now. Thanks for taking time to hang out and learn something new. I hope you did. And I can't wait to see what you build. If you do build something, do let us know. We're more than happy to have you on our showcase. So take care. Yeah, enjoy your lunch, Will. Enjoy the tacos. It's right about dinner time for me, so I'll go and have something for dinner too. All right, Lawrence, everybody, bye.